Okay, well, one of my teachers said, if you want to build a community, you need three things. You need a teacher, you need students, and you need a place. Okay, so it sounds easy. Three things, yeah. To get those three things to come together in a harmonious way, it takes time and effort, yeah. It's not just a bunch of people coming to a place and saying, we're going to do this. One of the things that I think, especially in the West, is so important is the deliberate, conscious cultivation of the feeling of community. Asians have that because of the structure of the family and the culture. Also, Buddhism has existed for centuries and centuries there. And so, if you join a monastery, like in the Tibetan tradition, if you're a boy, you're a monk, your uncle, who takes you into the monastery and takes care of you. So and then you're living in the Kamsen with other people from your same area of Tibet. So there's already a feeling of community built in there. Westerners, we are individuals. I'm an individual, and you can't make me do anything. And don't try and make me feel guilty, and don't boss me around and tell me what to do. I'll choose it myself, because I am an individual. So this kind of attitude in our culture, because we grow up to be individuals, In kindergarten, what is your favorite color? You're supposed to be an individual and have a favorite color. Yeah. What is your favorite food? That also makes you an individual. People ask me sometimes different questions, and it's like, I don't think like that. Yeah. What's my favorite color? I have no idea. I don't think about that. What's my favorite food? I don't know. I can tell you things I like. I can tell you things I don't like, but I can't tell you the one and only favorite. But we're taught, to stand out in a conforming way. And especially now is the era of identities. And everybody has an identity. And I'm not sure about how much this is in Europe, but in the States, this is big. I think it's in Europe too, but maybe not to the same extent. Now, in the States, you have an identity that nobody else appreciates and understands. So everybody now is part of an oppressed identity. Okay? So, the whole equal rights movement and voters' rights and, all these rights, that's very good. And you had minority groups coming and staking their rights and saying, hey, we're human too. We are part of society. We should have equal rights. But then it's gone to this extreme, because whenever it was equal rights, it was pointing the finger at white, Christian, straight men who had land. Yeah, these were the signers of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the founding fathers and, okay. So already you have left out, I would say, 3/4 of the population of the planet, yeah? Oh, more, actually. Women, discount them. So, half of your population don't count. Yeah. Then poor people, okay, take them out. LGBTQ people, take them out. What else do we have? Oh, people who are other abled, or, take them out. People who don't agree with me politically, take them out. And who do you wind up, so then I am, the people who used to be blamed for unequal rights are now saying, we're in the minority, and people are discriminating against us, and they're putting us around. And so you have this white Christian nationalism in the States, and that's going on in Europe as well, too, of people saying, no, we're not a religious minority, we are the dominant country, or the dominant religion in this country. We are not a minority. Stop persecuting us. Yeah, we are a Christian country, of white, rich, straight men. Yeah, and the rest of the world doesn't understand us now. Yeah. They don't understand us. They all, Okay. So it's the time of identities. Everybody has a persecuted identity, and you are expected to state your identity and insist that other people don't understand it and that you are loyal to your identity. I'm being a little extreme here, exaggerating, but look and see if that's true or not. For example, I was invited to give a talk about women in Buddhism at a Dharma center. And in the Q&A session, somebody said, who is your role model? Who do you want to be like? And I said, the Dalai Lama. And the whole audience went. And the person who organized the talk, because it was women in Buddhism, said, why don't you say Tara? Why didn't you say Tara? Isn't Tara your role model? You're a woman. She's a woman. That should be your role model. Women haven't been appreciated, and on and on and on. And it's like, well, yes, I admire Tara, but His Holiness is my teacher, and he serves as much more of a role model to me. Yeah, but they were very disappointed. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah. So how did I get off on that? This is one of my favorite topics I can go on, as you've seen. How did I get off on that? Individualism. How to foster community. Oh yeah, how to create community. Oh yeah, okay. So our community isn't just based on our identity, okay? What we have to do is, because everybody wants to belong to a community. And rather than have all these different communities based on your religion, based on your political belief and your sexual this and blah, 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 blah. Rather than that, how about the community of we are all sentient beings? And we're all in samsara together. We all want happiness. We all don't want to have suffering. How about that being our community identity? Isn't that much more realistic? Isn't that much more beneficial? But you can't just say that. You have to really create the community and talk about what community does and how people feel and how to resolve problems and how resolving problems in your community is part of your spiritual practice, So it's not like, building a monastery, a Dharma center is what we all want to do, but the committee meetings for planning it are, everybody's arguing. No, what we're doing to organize and build is the practice of the Dharma. And of course people are going to have different opinions. Yeah. So part of our practice is, how do we listen to different ideas? How do we evaluate, and maybe even consider, thank you for emphasizing my point, maybe even consider that my idea is not the best idea, and to say, oh, I never looked at it that way. That makes a lot more sense. And so to be open to not compete with others, not be jealous, not be arrogant, but learn to really rejoice in other people's good qualities, rejoice in their good fortune, work together for a common goal. Yeah. And like I said, we need to be taught that. And not just having teachings on fortitude and patience and overcoming anger, that is not enough to create community. We need those teachings, but then in the process of community, we need leaders within the community who say, okay, here, this is the time when we practice fortitude. This is the time when we practice generosity, And you need leaders who point out to people how to put our wonderful spiritual principles into practice right there in that present moment, in that present conflict. Yeah? And that's really important. We can't assume that people will do that.